Alright, Shalom. I'm the brother Tasiyat coming back with another video. But before I start off, I would like to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. And I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutation to the sincere Akyam, which means the brothers across this world, who are spread across this world, teaching this truth in sincerity. And shalom to the few sincere sisters that are also listening. May the election be upon your households. God shalom. So let's get right into it. You can see, as the title says, okay, there's a lot to be talking about, okay, because a lot of questions are popping off, like, who are the Israelites? Can the heathens be saved? People say that so-called Jesus died for everybody, and all these things are questions, but the truth is out there, okay? So, without further ado, let's go into the first subject, which says, when are you an Israelite? Okay, you are, just to explain it to you, you are an Israelite if the bloodline of your father's side, okay, goes back to the forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which Jacob's name was changed into Israel. So literally, you have to go back to the bloodline, the seed line, the sperm from the man who is named Israel. All right. Now, you are considered an Israelite only through your father's side, not through the mother's side. Okay. Not saying that the mother is not important, but through your father's, not basically, so to speak, to his seed line, you are now being born. Okay, the mother, I want to say mother in Dutch. The mother is like the earth. Okay, the father is like a fruit that has seed, like an apple, for example. Okay, you can plant the seed of the apple in the ground. What grows? The ground doesn't grow. Okay, the apple seed grows into an apple tree. Okay, you can plant it in the ground in Spain. You can plant it in China, in Japan, in Morocco. In Ghana, in Suriname. All these different seeds you plant in the ground, in the different grounds, but it's still the same tree that grows, still the same apple tree. Okay, so all these different grounds, like I just named, Morocco, Spain, these are different women. Okay, so we as men can have our seed with different women, children with different women, but they are not mixed. It's still the same pure seed of one man. So we all go back, no matter who you are, everybody goes back to one biblical nationality. Okay, the so-called Japanese go back to the forefather Ammon, the so-called Japanese to the forefather Moab. Okay, the so-called Arabic people go back to the forefather Ishmael, and the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans go back to the forefather Israel. Okay, the so-called Ethiopians go back to the forefather Cush. So the real Egyptians go back to the forefather Mizraim. So everybody goes back eventually to one man, okay, who has been duplicating his sperm throughout the generations, so to speak. So this is Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled, let me start at verse 17. And Moses and Aaron took these men which are expressed by their names. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. So that is how they know, like, oh, so you are from this and that family. Well, how? By your father's side. According to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. That's why when you marry, the woman takes on the last name of the man. The woman doesn't proceed a bloodline. She's basically like the end of her bloodline. If you have a daughter and your daughter goes to marry with another man, that man, his seed line is being continued through your daughter. Okay, not your seed line. Okay, because your daughter doesn't have the sperm. Your son has, if you have a son. Okay, so if your son marries another woman, it's still your sperm line that is being continued to your son. It don't matter which woman he has children with. You see the difference? Of course, we both need each other, man and wife, but just to bring it out there, man, clarification. So from there, let me go to the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. Because one thing what happened to us is that we have been scattered throughout all the nations. Okay, if you drop a glass, a cup of, a glass cup. I don't know how you say it in English. If you drop this, let me show you. If I was to drop this glass, boom, and it shatters all across the whole room. You now have different parts of glass throughout the whole room. And that is what happened with the Israelites. Different parts of us were scattered throughout all the nations. Okay, of course, with slavery, that is also what happened. When you are a slave, you're being sold from point A all the way to another country. Now, let's say we were sold as slaves from the west coast of Africa to the soil of America, okay, to Brazil, to Suriname, to Curacao, to the Jamaicans. Now, if you stay there for a few centuries, okay, you are still the same one that came from Israel, actually. And if you have been sold from the land of from the west coast of Africa onto, let's say, China, you stay there for a few generations. You might look like so-called Chinese people after a while, because the man is having intercourse with a Chinese woman, but it's still the same bloodline that goes back to the ones that have been sold from the west coast of Africa. And those people have, been fled into Africa from Roman persecution, okay, in Israel. So when you go back from West Africa, the people from Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, they actually, a lot of them actually come from Israel, okay? So that is to just explain it a bit more. In 70 AD, so 70 years AD, we fled from Roman persecution into the so-called west side of Africa mainly, okay, also other parts, of course, but we stayed there for like 50, 100 years, and then we were sold into the transatlantic slave trade, okay. Also, don't forget the Native Americans, who are also Israelite. You can read that in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, from verse 40 until 47, okay. 2nd Ezra 30 from 40 to 47. I marked it. If you read that part, you're going to see, like, wait a minute, the Native Americans, the Latinos are actually also Israelites. Okay, so don't forget about them. Now, without further ado, let's go to the book of James. James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushai, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So that scattered abroad, if you go into the Greek word, it says diaspora, which means a dispersion of Israelites among foreign nations. Like me, for example, I live in Holland, and I did not grow up in Israel. So basically, you could say that I am a Israelite foreigner, okay? One that has been not grown up in the land of Israel, okay? And not knowing that I was Israelite in the first place. So just like how you have me in Holland, you have our people also in China and India, even even Arabia, Morocco, Spain, America, of course, West Africa, but also East Africa, even though majority, of them stems from the forefather Kushites, the forefather Kush or Mizraim, the people like from Sudan and Ethiopia and Somalia. Still, you have some Israelites which are among them, like I just tried to explain, because that is what happens with slavery, plus something called mass migration. Okay, we don't stay in one place. We move from point A to point B. So our nationality, on your passport right now, it might say Dutch, it might say English, but if you go with, if you go to China, having a dark skin, they are not going to look at you like, oh, he's a Dutch person. They're going to think like, oh, he's somewhere from Africa, So that nationality, that passport, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually from the country, concerning your roots, concerning your ethnicity. There's a difference. So our ethnicity, our roots go back to Israel. So from there, let me go to the book of Tobit. Tobit, where is Tobit again? Tobit chapter 13. Tobit chapter 13. Oh, yeah, here, Tobit chapter 13, verse 3. It says, confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he had scattered us among them. You see, the Most High has scattered us in the midst of the other heathen nations, the actual Moabites, the actual Ammonites, the actual Ishmaelites, the actual Cushites, the actual Hamites, which are the real Africans. We are scattered amongst them, like it says in Ezekiel chapter 37, verse verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. So that means we are now spread throughout all the nations. And if he says he's going to bring us back into our land, that means we are right now, not all of us are in the land then in the first place, right? Otherwise, he would not state he's going to bring us back into the land. So that shows you already that we have been spread across different countries. And there are a lot of scriptures on this subject, but without further ado, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next subject, which says, who are the other sheep? When you go to John chapter 10, okay, John chapter 10, let me see, verse 15. Let me start at verse 14. It says, I am the good shepherd, which is Yahushai, and know my sheep, and have known of mine. And the sheep he's talking about is basically the Israelites that do follow him. You could say, the elect, so to speak. The people from the man Israel, with the mindset of a 1/3. Okay, a 1/3 mindset, meaning in America, you have 1/3 of people who's going to be saved and 2/3 will be dying. Okay, so the 1/3 mindset is, the ones that actually try to live righteous and follow Yahweh Bashim Yashai. Okay, the actual divide from 1/3 and 2/3, that is only in the land of America. But across the whole world, you have people with the same mindset of a 1/3, which is righteous, and following what God says, so to speak. And you have people that are from Israel, still descendants from the man named Israel, that are in the mindset of a 2/3, basically a wicked Israelite, which will not make it. Okay, but this is basically speaking of the people that are in the 1/3 mindset, okay, the elect. Verse 15, as the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Now, eventually, Yahushua came to lay down his life for the whole nation of Israel. Okay, don't get it twisted. But for now, when he returns, he's only coming to save the elect. In the kingdom of heaven, which will be upon this planet Earth, which is going to be the kingdom of Yahushua, that is where all the Israelites will be in a good state of mind again. We will not be able to sin anymore. God shall wipe away our tears, like it says in Revelation 20 or 21. We are going to be immortals. We're going to have spiritual powers. We're going to be visiting other planets. We're going to have slaves, servants, because these nations also had us in slavery. So this is all what is coming, but it's only for the Israelites. Okay? It says, verse 16, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Now, if he says he laid down his life for the sheep, right? If you go to Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, which you know that the sheep are the Israelites, it says it here. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So the Israelites are the lost sheep. But in John chapter 10, verse 16, it says, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. So wait a minute, if the sheep are the Israelites, then who are the other sheep? Now you're going to start questioning, like, is he speaking about the heathens then, about the Gentiles? No, he's speaking about the ones that did not grow up, in the land of Israel, but are Israelite foreigners. Like I explained, like myself, maybe you, growing up in a foreign country like Holland, Germany, America, you name it, man. China, even maybe India, South Africa, Brazil, you name it. We didn't grow up in the land of Israel, and we didn't grow up with the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. Maybe even we did not even know that we are Israelites. That is what is speaking about the other sheep, you know, the ones that did not know, but they are still part of the number that has to be saved. You know, they are still part of the 1/3 mindset, the people with a 1/3 mindset. Okay, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. You see, so only the elect will listen right now. In the kingdom, everybody will be in the right state of mind. You know, the Israelites. Let me jump to verse 27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So not just because you are a descendant from the man named Israel means that you are going to be saved when Yahushua returns. You know, you have to act like an Israelite. You have to follow Yahweh Bashem Yashai to the best of your ability. Otherwise, you ain't making it. All right. So from there, let me go to the next subject. Like I said, can the heathens be saved? You know, and can they be Israelites? No, they cannot. You know, you cannot have an apple and say it's a banana or something. You know, if you have a Mercedes, you know, the Mercedes is not gonna be like, okay, today I'm a Mercedes, tomorrow I'm a W, what is it, a BMW or something. You know, if you have a woman, she cannot say the next day, okay, today I'm a man. You know, you are created one way. You know, you have a certain spirit of a man. You know, if the Most High created you to be a man, you have a spirit of a man. He's not gonna make you come back on this planet Earth to reincarnation, which reincarnation is biblical. It happens, okay. But he's not gonna put you back in the reincarnation as a woman. You know, if he created you to be a spirit of a man, that is confusion. Okay, not like these Hinduist people believe, man. That is nonsense. You see, so the heathens, if they don't come from the forefather Israel, you know, from Abraham to Isaac to Israel, from his seed line and his 12 sons, they can never be from that seed line in the first place, you know. So therefore they cannot be saved. It's the hard truth, man. Okay, we should be glad that we are Israelites, you know, Lord willing, of course. And how do you know you're Israelite? Through the scriptures, you know. None of the wicked shall understand the scriptures, you know. You're gonna have the 1/3 that listens to the scriptures, listen to the name of Yahweh Bashem Yashai, prays to him, accepts him, like how the Bible describes him as a dark-skinned man with white woolly hair, white afro, white beard. The same for Yahushai, the same, you know, how he's described, you know, the angels being described as dark skins with having afros, you know. So the chip being the microchip, you know, all these things the elect will accept. So thereby, you know, like, wait a minute, that is the Israelite. And even from the Israelites themselves, who you know, who are by blood from Israel, still some of them are wicked and won't believe in the scriptures, even though they are Israelites. So you still have those two. But none of the heathen, you know, are gonna have that persuasion of getting the whole doctrine and being in tune with the whole doctrine of the Bible. You know, none of the heathen, man. Okay, only the Israelites, right? And through your mannerisms, how somebody behaves, how somebody, for example, walks, talks, dances, sings, plays sport with the best in sport, you name it, man. You see that we have like a different sauce, you know, like an extra pinch of salt we got from Yahweh Bashem Yashai, okay, from the Most High. So that's how we know and filter, like, okay, this might be an Israelite, you see. But only that Yahweh Bashem Yashai, you know, knows, of course, what the Israelites, and of course Yahushua and the angels, they know 100%. Okay, Acts chapter 2 verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. The Pentecost, meaning the 50th day, is like a yearly celebration, which was going on in Jerusalem. Now, let me jump to verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. So Jews that lived in Holland, for example, Jews that lived in Spain, Jews that lived in Morocco, Jews that lived in South Africa, Jews that maybe lived in India, Jews that lived in Brazil, you name it. They all gathered to Jerusalem, speaking, of course, their own language out of the country which they lived. Plus, some of them could speak the actual Hebrew language, if I'm correct. And they came to Jerusalem for the Pentecost. It doesn't mean that actual heathens from every nation came to the land of Israel, but it's the actual Jews from the bloodline. People like to say you can be a spiritual Israelite. That is incorrect. If you are not from the seed line, you cannot be an Israelite. Point blank, man. Period. You know. So Acts chapter 21, verse 21 is concerning Paul. Apostle Paul was preaching straight to the point. Let me start at verse 18. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. Let me jump to 21. And they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles. So the Jews which are among the Gentiles. Okay, not the Gentiles actually themselves. To forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. Okay, so if I'm correct, they was teaching them like don't try to uh, mess up your mind by forcing them to keep all the laws, statutes, and commandments. They did not grow up with it. You cannot force it upon the people. So it takes time, and just start simple. Like don't eat things that are offered to idols. Don't eat things that are strangled. Don't eat things which still have the blood in it. Like raw food or shit like that. Don't be doing that, man. All right, and follow Yahweh Bashim Yashai, of course. Now, knowing that these holidays, another quick point, knowing these holidays are coming up like Christmas and whatnot, there's a certain chapter in the book of Corinthians which explains to you that if you are invited, for example, to some cookout or a dinner party, you can go and you can eat of the food that is offered there, that is being portrayed for you, as long as you pray to Yahweh Bashim Yashai. And as long as it don't be in your face like, yeah, man, this food, we eat it in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of Santa Claus, whatever. If they do that, don't eat it, man. It's best to not eat it. Because if you do eat it, then they're going to look at you like, wait a minute, you said you didn't believe in this, and now you are eating. So now they have something on you, So in that case, don't eat it. And in another case, don't eat it if you have a person that is new to this truth, new to the fact that he knows Yahweh Bashim Yashai, and now in front of his face, you're gonna start eating these things, like halal meat, or you go to a Muslim cookout and you start eating the food over there. He's gonna look at you like, wait a minute, so we can eat food that is offered to idols, and then he might trip up in his mind, and it messes with him. So for his sake, you don't do it then, in front of him. But the scriptures do explain to you like, hey, if there's food with you, don't ask too many questions. You can just eat and pray to Yahweh Bashim Yashai. You know that these other so-called idols are fake anyway. I forgot which chapter it was, but I also made a video concerning that. I believe it's 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Yeah, I believe 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Let me see, verse 4. As concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that the idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. You see, so we know that these idols, these Christmas, what else is fake. So we can just eat it, man, if you pray over it. So I suggest you read this chapter. And all the things I just explained is in this chapter. Like jumping to verse 13, it says, wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. Speaking about the one that is new into this truth and doesn't really understand the scriptures yet. Don't do it in front of his face. But you should read 1 Corinthians chapter 8. I think I'm going to make another video, Lord willing, about it. Or I'm going to re-upload the previous video I made concerning this. So anyway, let me go to the last scripture to close it off with. And sorry if I've been talking a bit fast. I wanted to bring out quite a few things, you know, so if you cannot really follow it, feel free to pause the video or to rewind it, you know, and make notes, okay? And it's important to make notes and to study also, you know, to understand these scriptures, okay? Because there will be a time where in videos like this won't be found anymore on the internet, and you cannot, how do you say that, get knowledge, wisdom, understanding anymore, you know? So the last scriptures, John chapter 4, verse 22. Ye worship, you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. You see, salvation is not for the heathen, it's for the Jews, for the Israelites. So with that, hope this edifying, and I want to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akiyama across this world, who has spread his knowledge and truth and sincerity. And may the election be upon your households. God shalom.